Ad hoc committee recommends the setting up of a committee to probe former Governor El-Rufai for abuse of office, money laundering, and abuse of office. Public commendation trails report highlighting governor's lavish expenditure amidst economic crisis. And the Nigerian Senate moves to curb open grazing by establishing National Commission for Ranching. On the foreign scene, body recovery effort called off at the landslide site in Papua New Guinea. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Muhammad Kuda Walker. Our apologies for commencing the news rather late. The Kaduna State House of Assembly has indicted former Governor Nasir El-Rufai and several of his aides for allegedly siphoning over 400 billion naira of state resources. An ad hoc committee established by the Kaduna State House of Assembly has recommended a probe and prosecution of former Governor El-Rufai. The committee's chairman, Henry Zakaria, stated that most of the loans obtained and projects implemented during El-Rufai's tenure did not follow due process. Trust TV's Bella Musa reports.
After hearing the findings of the committee during the plenary session, the Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, Dahiru Liman, made a revelation of the alleged money siphoned by the immediate past administration in the state.
That the total amount of money siphoned by the Kaduna State government from 29 May 2015 and 29 May 2023 was 423 billion 115 million and 28,072 naira 88 kobo. The contractual liability was 311 billion. Then money siphoned or diverted 423 billion.
The Speaker mentioned how some of the alleged money diverted by the state under the past governor, Nasir El-Rufai.
$2.8 million meant for development or construction or reconstruction or renovation of our primary health care. When it was changed to naira, from dollar to naira, the exchange gain was diverted to a friend of the suspicious occupant of that positions. In 50 days, a travel agency was paid 1.3 billion naira in just 40 days.
While presenting the findings of the investigation, Chairman of the committee and Deputy Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, Henry Zakaria, said most of the loans obtained under the El-Rufai's administration were not used for the purpose for which they were obtained.
That the governor of Kaduna State between 29 May 2015 to 29 May 2023 as the Chief Executive Officer of the state breached his oath of office contained in the 7th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended and failed to exercise due diligence in the administration of the state, thereby diversion of funds and money laundering contrary to all extant laws and regulations, and accordingly should be referred to the enforcement agencies. Law enforcement agencies for in-depth investigation and appropriate action.
The committee came up with 10 recommendations, which include that all commissioners of finance and head of MDAs in the state from May 29, 2015 to May 29, 2023 be referred to appropriate law enforcement agencies for thorough investigation. They also recommended that the current Commissioner of Finance in the state should step aside to allow for proper investigation. The committee also recommended that Muyiwa Adeyeke, the special advisor to the former governor, El-Rufai on media, be referred to the appropriate law enforcement agencies for investigation on his involvement in contract at Kaduna State Media Corporation. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In his reaction, former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has dismissed the Kaduna State House of Assembly's adoption of an ad hoc committee report and urging the State Assembly to probe his administration from May 2015 to May 2023 as a politically motivated hatchet job. In a statement released on Wednesday by his spokesman, Muyiwa Adeke, El-Rufai asserted that he led a government of integrity and competence during his 8-year tenure. Adeke affirmed that integrity of El-Rufai's administration and called the committee's claims scandalous. A Kano State High Court has granted a motion to serve court documents by substituted means on the APC National Chairman and former Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje. Dr. Ganduje, along with 6 others, are facing allegations of corruption. The applicants were unable to be served personally with the court processes and consequently sought the court's permission to use alternative methods to serve, particularly Dr. Ganduje. The presiding judge, Justice Amina Adamu, granted this application and scheduled the hearing for July the 11th.
See, what happened in the court today is that the prosecution has come with their application to expertise to serve some of the defendants with the charge in this case. However, Ilana Sik has raised an objection to that on the ground that there is a motion on notice pending before the court seeking the same kind of orders. The court, after entertaining the expertise order, granted same and adjourned the matter further to the 11th, I think, 11th day, July 2024, yes, for hearing of the objection against the motion or the order just granted.
Nigerians are reacting to a recent media report revealing that 30 governors spent more than 986 billion naira on recurrent expenditures in the first quarter of 2024. According to a report, the funds were spent on refreshments, sitting allowances, travel expenses, utilities, and other items. Ibrahim Ismail takes a look at the report and sampled the views of a cross-section of the public.
The report comes amid concerns over the government's double standard on spending when it comes to the elites versus the general public. As Nigerian workers demand better wages, data from Open Nigerian States reveal that in the first 3 months of 2024, 30 state governments spent 5.1 billion naira on refreshments for guests, 4.67 billion naira on sitting allowances for government officials, 34.63 billion naira on local and foreign travel expenses, and 5.64 billion naira on utility bills, totaling 50.02 billion naira. Additionally, the governors paid 405.77 billion naira in salaries to their workers. This substantial spending has sparked strong debates among Nigerians.
I want to say that the governors are not helping the issues in this country. To me, I term the governors as the emperors of this country. They are the greatest problem we have as far as this current democratic system is concerned. Number one, the governors, they come to Abuja every 30 days, collect allocation, both the one for state and local government. When you go to the state, there is no visible thing on the ground that you can see and say this is what the governor has paid.
It's very funny and it's uncalled for. Nigerians, why we choose to behave like this is that it's because people misbehave and go unpunished. So in a situation where there's no discipline in an environment or in a state where there's no punishment, people misbehave and go free. So there is hunger on the land. Day in, day out, people are dying of hunger because of the situation of things on ground. So
this money, number one, if you think of health sectors, education, agriculture, and road, electricity, That's all.
Speaking on accountability in state governance regarding the latest data on excessive spending on allowances and refreshments by Nigerian governors, anti-corruption campaigner Sunday Amos criticized the governors for their insensitivity. He noted that spending such a significant amount within 3 months highlights a lack of regard for the financial challenges faced by the public.
Every day, you see in the news poverty all over the country. People are no longer able to eat, suffering left, right, and center, and yet we have this kind of profligacy by our governors. So it's a clear sign of the continued insensitivity to what is happening in the country. Governors and our legislators do not believe that Nigerians are suffering. And that is why these humongous expenses can continue.
Over the years, many Nigerian governors have been accused of embezzling public funds or abusing their office, but most of these cases have been swept under the carpet. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos on Wednesday granted an order of interim forfeiture of properties valued at 11.14 billion naira linked to the embattled former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele. Justice Chukwujeku Aneke made the order sequel to a motion ex parte filed and argued by the counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Oyedepo. The court ordered the interim forfeiture of the properties to the federal government. Oyedepo informed the court that Emefiele is suspected of having bought the choice properties by proxy with the proceeds of fraud. The properties are mostly located in highbrow parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Justice Aneke ordered the EFCC to publish the order in the newspaper for any interested party to show cause why the final order of forfeiture should not be made. The judge adjourned till the 21st of June for the hearing of the motion for final forfeiture. The Senate has passed for second reading a bill to establish a National Animal Husbandry and Ranchers Commission. The bill, according to its sponsor, Senator Titus Zam, Benue Northwest, aims to regulate cattle rearing and ranching across Nigeria. Trust TV's Sagir Ibrahim brings all these details and more from Thursday's Senate plenary.
In light of the incessant farmer-herders conflict, which has affected several states in the north, central, and other zones of the country, impacting agricultural activities, Senator Titus Zam, representing Benue Northwest, feels ranching is the way to go to control and regulate cattle rearing activities across the country.
Now is the time to bring about a law to stop open grazing. It is old-fashioned, hazardous, burdensome, and must be discarded. The bill therefore proposes ranching as the only viable alternative for cattle breeding in Nigeria.
The bill, however, was shouted down by his colleagues. They say it favors one region over others.
And based on the Constitution of Nigeria, I am totally against this bill. And it will not resolve the current challenges we are facing. It will compound our problem. You cannot in any way make a law for a particular section to protect some part of the country.
You cannot really bring the issue of cattle route for now. It is not applicable at all because it touches on the territorial integrity of some states. Some states will not allow it. So ranching should be seen as a business, and government has no business going into it.
Other lawmakers who supported the bill noted that the proposed commission would manage the farmers' crisis in Nigeria.
The cattle, they are all over the place. You will even see them on Abuja Street. You see them all over the place. They enter people's farmland and causing problems all over the country. This bill must be allowed to have its place. All states must be ready to have cattle ranch.
As we consider this, I also want us to look at the Land Use Act as an impediment to this particular very wonderful bill to ensure that we can get and put to rest this matter of header farmer clash.
After a heated debate, the bill was passed following a voice vote by the President of the Senate and referred to the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Judiciary and Legal Matters to revert back to the Senate in 4 weeks. Meanwhile, a bill for an act to provide for a Nigeria Gold Reserve Industry Framework also scaled second reading in the Senate. The bill's sponsor and supporters argued that an establishment of a framework in the gold industry will help Nigeria keep track of its gold reserve, regulate the space, and address issues of illegal gold mining.
It is a strategic imperative that aligns with our national developmental goals. The bill contains 80 sections segmented into 5 parts and 5 chapters. A compendium of financial implications of this bill is attached thereto. It will entail a modest budget takeoff, as it would be self-sponsored and high-income yielding in the medium and long run.
We want a framework where all the gold that is mined either legally or illegally in this country is being purchased by the central bank. And once it is done, I can guarantee you in the next 1 year, the value of Naira will change, even if we don't have foreign direct investment.
As we speak right now, somebody is involved in illegal mining of gold, and they take them out of this country, and they make money and put it in their pocket. They use that money to undermine our political system, our security system, every aspect of our national life. They distort our national values. I think everything that needs to be done.
The ayes had it after it was put to voice vote by the Deputy President of the Senate, who presided over the session. The Senate also stepped down the 98.5 billion naira Federal Capital Territory Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2024 for lacking fiscal clarity. The development follows a lead debate by the leader of the Senate, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, proposing that the bill be read a second time. The bill was consequently stepped down until a detailed breakdown was provided. From the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to review its fight against insecurity across the country. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of an amended motion of urgent public importance moved by Honorable Sada Soli from Katsina State and 24 others. Floor of the Green Chamber during plenary on Wednesday.
Insecurity in Nigeria is a complex and multifaceted issue that encompasses various challenges such as terrorism, insurgency, communal clashes, kidnapping, armed robbery, and banditry. Moving the motion, Soli urged the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, consider the establishment of state policing to complement the efforts of existing security agencies.
Incessant banditry attacks on communities in Northwest and other parts of the country, which significantly impact food production and agricultural activities, jeopardizing food security and livelihoods of the people in affected states of the region in the coming rainy season.
The House of Representatives also condemned the killings of army personnel across the country and want the culprits arrested.
This form of attack and killing of military personnel by gunmen in the southeast and other parts of Nigeria has a potential of depending the morale of our armed forces, endangering the lives and property of Nigerians and affecting the war of insurgents, which has no far recorded and success.
Mr. Speaker, again, it's a very, very, very sad day. A couple of months ago, our armed forces, our most prized assets, who sacrificed day and night to keep Nigeria one, to keep Nigeria safe, are randomly killed by non-state actors. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed extremely sad.
We are here screaming against insecurity, and the institution responsible for the protections of life and properties of the citizens of this country are being demoralized by being killed on daily basis, not only in the east, west, or anywhere in the entire Nigeria.
The nation is facing a serious security challenges, most especially in a situation whereby our security agencies, the police, army, Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, are easy targets. They are killed and maimed at the caprice of the criminals. I support wholeheartedly the motion, the prayers and recommendation therein, and I hope the House and by extension the National Assembly, including Mr. President himself, to take decisive actions.
The lower chamber also mandated the House Committee on Diaspora to investigate the murder of Ebuka Nwoko in South Africa and other cases of unlawful killings, third share of Nigerians living in diaspora, and report back to the House in 4 weeks for further legislative action. They called on the federal government to prioritize the protection of the lives of Nigerians living abroad and leave no stone unturned in pursuit of justice for fellow compatriots who have suffered injustice and oppression in the hands of foreign nationals.
As is concerned that the recent tragic and painful death of Mr. Ebuka Nwoko, a 43-year-old Nigerian allegedly murdered while in the custody of South African security officials, is yet another harrowing example of the severe mistreatment our compatriots face overseas. Saddened that Nigerian lives are continuously devalued and disregarded, even in nations that claim to uphold democratic values and the rule of law.
The House plenary continues on Thursday.
The Nigerian Army on Wednesday dismissed allegations of mass killings by its troops in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria. The claims of mass killing were made by Simon Ekpa, a self-acclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOD. The Director, Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, debunked this in a statement saying that contrary to Ekpa's claims, which has gone viral on social media, the Nigerian Army has conducted a thorough investigation and found no evidence to support the allegations. General Nwachukwu added that the troops in the video footage are personnel of the Nigerian Navy, not the Army, and were engaged in a routine test firing of weapon system. General Nwachukwu also clarified that the incident took place in the southwest zone, not the southeast. Ekpa had raised an alarm in a viral video alleging the troops of the Nigerian Army are carrying out mass killings of innocent Igbos and dumping them in a river. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to redirect the focus of the negotiations from fixing a new minimum wage to fixing a realistic living wage for Nigerians. They also urged government to further consider the downward review of the electricity tariff to reduce the sufferings of Nigerians. This followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by Honorable Isa Ali on the need to consider the imperativeness of fixing a living wage for Nigerian workers in order to ameliorate current economic hardships. The motion was debated extensively on the floor of the House and by the lawmakers.
Note that the implications of payment of 35,000 wage award by the federal government to public servants as one of the ways of cushioning the effect of current economic hardship, including the May 1st pronouncement of percentage increase in salaries of civil servants, has for the time being increased the total amount received by civil servants to 77,000 naira monthly.
Has to look at section 16(2)(d) of Nigerian Constitution. It says that suitable and adequate shelter, suitable and adequate food, reasonable and national minimum living wage shall be provided for the Nigerian worker. I will urge this House to please, with the speed with which we pass the national anthem, that we should also recall the Minimum Wage Act, reconsider it, and with that same speed, pass that act and ensure that we give the Nigerian worker a living wage in that act.
Mr. Speaker, the law of Nigeria recognizes that as a person, you are entitled to one wife, 4 children, and then your mother and father. These are the things that you are entitled to take care, even in the tax relief or whatever. These are the indices and the factors given to us. And so by implication, you are supposed to have that minimum wage that will cater for this number of persons.
Meanwhile, the meeting of the Tripartite Committee on Minimum Wage reconvened in Abuja on Wednesday to continue negotiations over a new minimum wage for workers in the country. In attendance were representatives of the federal government, including the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, Minister of State for Labor, Nkirika Enwejocha, with representatives of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, as well as the Head of Service of the Federation. On the side of the organized labor, the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, and his counterpart in the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, were in attendance. Although none of the state governors were in attendance at the meeting, the Director General of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Abdul Latif Shitu, was at the meeting. It could be recalled that one of the conditions for suspending the strike on Tuesday was that the committee will continue to meet daily for 1 week until an agreement is reached for a new minimum wage for workers. Residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, are expressing divergent views on suspension of the industrial action by the organized labor. On Tuesday, the NLC and TUC announced that they had suspended the strike for 5 days to continue discussions with the Tripartite Committee, vowing to resume the strike fully if their demands are not met. Ado Musa has the report.
Before the suspension of the strike, various activities were grounded in parts of the country. The strike has, however, taken a toll on economic and business activities, leaving people counting their losses. While some residents support the suspension of the strike, others say the NLC should continue with the strike until government meets their demand.
In as much as we are fighting for the common good, I feel there are some things that need to be put in check. This strike is meant to bring together to favor the labor market, and for a fact, we can see that it's affecting those in the private sector, those are doing private businesses, because paying or increasing the minimum wage to 400k, it won't solve the needs or the problems we have in the country. We have much more problems than that.
If both the government and the Labour Congress can come into mutual agreement in which they can strike a balance why the strike can be called off, so that everybody can return back to their normal businesses, so that such as the electric power, they can resume back their work, and we can have the power supply so we can able to do our work. So that's my own opinion. Let the government come to an agreement.
Government and the labor, they should come to conclude, because we are very difficult in all our works, because our work are no longer moving as before because of the strike of the lights. And if the government can able to come to conclude, all our issue on this nature or on this matter lie on the increasement of the petrol and the scarcity.
For Muhammad Haruna, the labor unions shouldn't have called it off, despite being directly affected by the actions.
Actually, I'm a Nigerian, and I'm really in support of this very strike, and I wish this strike will extend to like 1 week as a warning strike, because actually we need to have a pressure group, a group that will be pressurizing the government to be doing what is needed, what is needful to at least its worker, its labor force. Now, can you imagine that a nation cannot be able to feed its labor force one day effectively or once a day effectively in a month, giving people 30,000 naira, where a meal is more than 2,000 naira per single meal? I'm kind of a person whereby I'm really in support of this very strike, and I wish the labor union will continue something such to pressurize the government on health, on education, on so many things.
Nigerians are waiting to see if the Tripartite Committee will resolve their differences before the 5 days expiry date given by the organized labor. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
As the world celebrates Environment Day, climate activists in Gombe are marking the occasion by planting trees. Established in 1973, Environmental Day is celebrated annually on June the 5th to address global environmental issues. Experts believe that planting more trees will help protect the environment, particularly in degraded areas. TOS TV's Hassan Koli reports.
According to the United Nations, land plays a key role in the climate system as an essential carbon sink because its surface, such as trees, regulate the planet's temperature. Many findings attributed the recent climate change to deforestation, which in turn led to the other deadly environmental hazards such as erosion, flooding, and desertification, making many national and international governments suggest afforestation and reforestation as a solution. In Gombe, a group of environment-concerned citizens has planted more than 100 trees in the government science secondary school to mark the day.
So we gather the students, we lecture them on the importance of safeguarding our environment, the issue of desertification, issue of tree felling, issue of environmental degradation has to do with like erosion and so on and so forth. We lecture them on that, and we brought some trees, over about 150 seedlings of different exotic varieties of trees, including mango, cashew, guava, pawpaw, and malina, with also blackcurrant. We brought them and we planted them to show the students the importance of planting trees, and their promises, because they have environmental vanguard students here, they promise to safeguard these trees that we have planted.
One of the teachers said it is high time to engage even a primary school pupil in environmental protection efforts.
Looking at the impact of environment, looking at what is really happening these days in terms of deforestation, in terms of long-term attitudes from the people towards the environment, is very important to catch them young, to introduce or to orient this young generation, because they are the future, so that they can take very good care of the environment, to avoid destruction of the environment, to encourage building of the environment than destroying the environment.
According to the United Nations, trees in urban areas create a temperature of up to 5 degrees Celsius and reduce air conditioning needs by 25%. Hassan Lawan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Operation Safe Haven, a special task force maintaining peace in Plateau, some parts of Bauchi and Kaduna states, has organized a peace summit to unite members of the communities affected by communal clashes in the region. Various communities, especially within Plateau and Kaduna states, have suffered from communal clashes as well as banditry and kidnapping activities in the areas where many people were killed. Ado Musa completes the story.
Declaring the event opened, the commander of Operation Safe Haven and General Officer commanding 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, said the meeting was organized to unite farmers and herders and ensure hitch-free farming season this year in Plateau and Kaduna states. Major General Abubakar emphasizes the importance of peaceful coexistence for sustainable food security in the country.
It is therefore organized to address these challenges towards ensuring a hitch-free and successful farming season this year and beyond. The fact that the agricultural sector remains crucial to the overall development of any state or nation needs no further emphasis. There is a direct nexus between food security as well as economic development and national security.
Religious leaders at the event also speak on the importance of peace in the country.
Integrity against your own self. Integrity, fairness, and justice. Quran chapter 5 verse 8. Don't allow the hatred of some people. That's why the Quran called a peddler. People peddling lies. Allah called it like.
The government should invest in the security sector by consistently equipping the security personnel with upgraded state-of-the-art security gadgets to ensure adequate funding towards training and retraining of security personnel.
Representatives of Plateau and Kaduna state governors call on both farmers and herders to remain peacefully with one another, irrespective of their ethno-religious backgrounds.
Bringing various stakeholders from the three states. And I would like to applaud him and recommend that this type of seminar should be done in locations, local areas where we have such security challenges.
Starting from the local level, they must sit together as a community and decide that, okay, now we'll give some space for those rearing animals to do whatever they do, and then some space for those that are into crop.
This is the second time the command is organizing peace meeting to ensure heat-free farming season in Plateau and Kaduna states. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still in Plateau, the chairman of the Amalgam Transport Operators of the well-known NTA Park in Jos, the Plateau State capital, has appealed to the Plateau State government to reconsider any plans to close down the park. The chairman emphasized that the park has been instrumental in the economic prosperity of the state throughout its 20 years of operation. This report by Dixon Adama is presented from our studio.
The chairman, who further explained that they pay tax to the government as well as other necessary levies, also said that they have contributed in checking insecurity in the state by arresting criminals, kidnappers and bandits alike with arms and ammunition and other dangerous weapons. According to him, they have been supporting the government in the developmental efforts of the state and are willing to do more, especially in the transportation sector, which is key in the development of any state or the nation at large.
I met our lawyers. Our lawyers said, okay, since you had already, let us write to the local government. We write a passionate appeal to the local government, intimating them that we had on radio that NTA Motor Park is going to be relocated. Part of the parks that are going to be relocated. We said we are not NTA Motor Park, we are Amalgam Transport. We want to be sure what is happening. Up till today, we did not hear any reply from them. We wrote a letter to them.
This is almost 37 years in working this mechanic, and it has been long that I always bring passenger or some of my boys. One day we always go outside to work, and before, even though sometimes before, we always take it to Bauchi Road side, which now sometimes we always scared, even though most especially if there is a crisis. But because I'm working in Angwarukuba area, so I prefer to bring anything down to NTA Park to take it to Abuja for me, because I know there is nothing like scared for me. So I'm just pleading to government that please, they should just look things about this park, the one they are saying they want to lock.
Decision that the government is taking is not right. I think that the government should use this park because it has been helping a lot of people. It has been helping me.
I'm a regular visitor of this park. I normally travel to this park, and I've been using this park for my logistic business for more than 5 years. They have been the one sending my radios, and I've always received radios from other states in NTA Park here. And the park is very good. We have even created an office that they can register waybill. In case if you want to send waybill, you can get the details of what you are sending and the driver's number and any other information that is needed. And they always travel fast. They don't have issues with their drivers or anybody around.
The chairman stressed that government-owned parks can work hand in hand with the privately owned parks, just as there are government hospitals and private hospitals, as public-private partnerships are all needed to boost the economy. He said the park has created lots of employment opportunities for people, while the total investment sum in the park is over 500 million naira.
The federal government, through the National Orientation Agency, announced its intention to address the various incorrect renditions of the national anthem, which have featured different lyrics and rhythms. The agency aims to indigenize the anthem's melody to reflect Nigeria's unique musical heritage while ensuring that Nigerians embody the anthem's tenets and meanings. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu has more.
Nigeria, we hail thee.
Since the new National Anthem Act was signed into law on May 29, 2024, its acceptance and usage among the Nigerian public remain debatable. Many Nigerians argue that the timing of its reintroduction is problematic given the nation's current economic hardships, inflation, and rising cost of living, issues that are perceived as more pressing. Another concern is that many Nigerians are unfamiliar with the correct verses of the anthem's 3 stanzas during recitation.
The official version, which will clear all doubts about the correct lyrics as contained in the Act signed by the President. We call the attention of Nigerians to the line 3 of the first stanza, which reads, "Though tribes and tongues may differ." Please note that the words tribes and tongues are in plural. We want you also to note that line 5 of the first stanza reads, "Nigerians all are proud to serve." The word "are" and not "and" is the correct version.
While promoting the indigenization of the anthem, the agency announced plans to collaborate with Nigerians and deploy an AI tool for renditions in native languages.
An audio rendition. The NOA will call for entries for the production of an authentic Nigerian melody, taking into cognizance the indigenous instrumentation of the Nigerian people. The effective date for the entries and the procedure will be announced through NOA channels.
Regarding increased acceptance and usage, the NOA emphasizes that it is the primary responsibility of every Nigerian citizen to utilize national symbols, as doing so strengthens national cohesion, unity, and fosters patriotism. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Time now for business update with Yusuf Akubu.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The presidential initiative for compressed natural gas says it aims to convert about 1 million vehicles to CNG to save about $4.4 billion annually in petrol importation. The PCNGEI also added that about 809 million investment will be required to develop infrastructure for the alternative fuel. Making a presentation at a co-cooperation session on Nigeria Gas Vehicle Monitoring System in Abuja on Tuesday, the Coordinator of Regulation, Compliance and Facilitation, Zayan Tambari, explained that government expects CNG to replace 20% of the current 50 million liters of petrol consumed in the country daily. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation says the payment of depositors in the recently liquidated Heritage Bank will commence before the end of the week. The Managing Director of NDIC, Bello Hassan, disclosed this in a briefing on the liquidation of the bank in Abuja on Tuesday. Hassan said the total bank deposit at Heritage Bank stands at 650 billion naira, while its loan portfolio stands at over 700 billion naira. He stated that the NDIC is looking forward to ensuring the loan repayment within the next 6 months. The NDIC put the total depositors at the bank at 2.3 million, with 99% of them having a total balance less than 5 million naira. Equities market closed Wednesday's trade in the positive territory following renewed interest by investors. Let's see how it went down today. The top gaining equities, Entana oil, they're up there 9.80% to close at 13 naira and 45 kobo per share. International Brewery up also 7.84% to close at 3 naira and 99 kobo per share. Custodian and insurance company 6.53% it gained to close at 10 naira and 60 kobo per share. Of course, this has pushed up the market up there by 0.24%. Volume of trade 308.136 million shares, they valued at 4.862 billion naira in a list of 7,690 did exchanges among investors. The top trading equities are Fidelity Bank of Nigeria PLC 84.050 million shares traded, Owando PLC 52.5 519 million shares. Veritas Capital 19.403 million shares. It traded as well. Some equities ended on the losing side of the market. Leading that table is International Energy Insurance, down there 9.49% to close at 1 naira and 43 kobo per share. Linkage Assurance also down 9.41% to close at 77 kobo per share. Of course, Wando Nigerian PLC also down 8.80% to close at 12 naira and 95 kobo per share. That's the highlight of stock trading as it went down this Wednesday on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Crude oil futures rebounded slightly on Wednesday but hovered near a 4-month low as a decision by OPEC Plus to increase production later this year continued to weigh on the market. At the London market, Brent crude sells for $77 per barrel. For the per basket, price drops to $78 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
On the foreign scene, hundreds of villagers feared buried in Papua New Guinea's landslide will not be recovered. The military told AFP Wednesday, describing the disaster zone as too dangerous to operate in. Major Joe Aku said all efforts to recover bodies have been called off because of the danger of further landslides, adding that recovery is non-negotiable at this stage. Major Aku, one of the leading military officers overseeing the site, declared the highland area a no-go zone that will be cordoned off to the community and authorities until further notice. Papua New Guinea is one of the world's most disaster-prone regions, and landslides are extremely common in its highlands. Initial estimates by Papua New Guinea's government said as many as 2,000 people may have been buried in the May 24th landslide, although Major Aku said this number could be closer to 650. Only 9 bodies have been recovered, according to local health authorities. South Africa's ruling ANC said Wednesday it had reached out to rival political parties to form a government of national unity after failing to win an outright majority in last week's general election. The final tally gave President Cyril Ramaphosa's African National Congress 159 members or seats in the 400-seat National Assembly, its lowest score in a general election. ANC spokeswoman Malengi Bengu Mosiri said the party held talks with several other political parties as it attempts to secure enough parliamentary support to form a government and elect a president. She said ANC's decision-making body will meet on Thursday to vet all options, including trying to form a minority government. Among those consulted were political parties with radically different agenda with the ANC, such as the center-right Democratic Alliance, the leftist Economic Freedom Fighters, and the Zulu Nationalist Inkatha Freedom Fighter, or rather parties, I beg your pardon. In sports, let's join Emmanuel Fashemi for sports news updates.
In a move to have a good show at the forthcoming Paris Games, the Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) has released a list of 20 D-Tigers players for the first phase of training camp to hold in FCT Abuja starting from Friday, June 7th, 2024. The Tigers, who will be representing Nigeria in the women's basketball event at the Olympic Games, are coached by highly experienced woman Rena Wakama, who led the team to a record-equaling 4th Afro-Basket crown in Rwanda 2023. On the list of players signed by the NBBF Secretary General Peter Njoku are Regina Donanu of MFM, Khadijat Gaba, Naomi Okoro, Mariam Idris, Idubamo Begi, and Ifunanya Okoro. Others include Wando Hembam, Agatha A. Agatha, and Gbemisola Samuel, Tewogbade Ayomide, Osaretin Samuel, Inkem Akarawe, Mojina Tumusa, and Bright Eze. The D Tigers will start their Group B campaign at the Games against Australia on Monday, 29 July 2024. Nigeria Rugby Sevens head coach Steve Lewis has announced his squad for the African Cup Sevens tournament, which will take place from June 26 to July 8 in Mauritius. The squad features significant changes, including the absence of co-captains Declan Nwanchukwu, Olukolade Awobowale, both sidelined due to injuries. Former captain Oronu Jatu is also notably absent from the list. Coach Lewis said it is an exciting new squad for Nigeria Sevens, with 7 debutants eager to make a name for themselves in Mauritius against the best teams in Africa. According to the president of Nigeria Rugby, Dr. Ademola Are, he said the team want to finish with strong momentum to help prepare for next season. In Pool A, the Nigerian Stallions Sevens will compete against Kenya, Madagascar, and host team Mauritius. Pool B includes Uganda, Burkina Faso, Tunisia, and Cote d'Ivoire, while Pool C features Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ghana, and Algeria. And that is what I am Emmanuel Fashini.
And that concludes the news on News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I am Muhammad Kudaw Bakr. Thanks for watching.